Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for showing up to our AMA. I think what we'd like to talk about today is our equity listing. It's a very exciting moment for our company. We are now listed, our equities listed on the NEO exchange under INXD in Canada. And obviously we have our security token listed on the INX Securities ATS in the United States. I'd like to pass it over to Shai, if he could say a couple of words about what we're doing, why we did it, and what we're thinking. Shai?
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. When we started the vision of INX, the idea was to combine between the two worlds. Three of us here, Douglas, Alan, and myself, are coming from the traditional financial world. And I think all of us understood in very early stage that blockchain, cryptocurrencies, tokenization is the future of the finance. But in order to be able to establish a solid, trustable, accessible for everybody on blockchain, you need to come from the traditional world. And I think this is what's unique about INX. So we are trying to bring our experience, our expertise from the traditional world, whether it is regulation or technology or transparency, and to take the wonderful things of the blockchain and to put them together. And this is what we did. We're the only company in the world that we have two different securities traded, one on security token in US and the other one regular share in Canada. And we have few platforms of tradings, and this is what we are. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. One thing we should say is that there's nothing that we're saying here that is investment advice. None of us have any licenses of any kind that can offer any investment advice, so please take that in mind as you listen to what we're saying. Now, our Canadian journey really started about 9 months ago, and we were interested in doing an RTO reverse takeover of a company called Valdi that was listed on the TSXV, that's the junior exchange in Canada. At the same time, we raised just shy of 40 million Canada after doing a roadshow that comes out to about $30 million US. We had that cash sitting in escrow for, I'd say, about 9 months, and then decided that maybe NEO was more in line with where we were, because as a company, we changed quite aggressively. At the time of the initial raise in Canada, I think we had 15 employees as a company, maybe $7 million in the bank, and we just started our security token IPO. By the time that it was finished, as of today, I think we have close to $90 million in the bank. We've got around just shy of 100 employees. And obviously we've got licenses in 31 US states and territories for MT licenses. We can also trade US securities in every single state in the United States and a number of different countries. We've bought a transfer agent, a broker dealer, and an ATS. We also have an interdealer broker that does around $95 billion a year, or is it a month, in trades. So as a company, we're very different today than we were back then. And the senior exchange, NEO, just seemed like a better fit for us as a company. So that's what we did. Yesterday, I think as the opening bell hit, I think the Dow Jones futures were down something like 1,000 points. It was probably one of the toughest days to ever open up a listing. Now, mind you, this wasn't an IP, no initial public offering, but certainly it was our listing, a direct listing, I guess, of our combined company, the INX digital company. But it's done, it's out there. I think what's very cool about this is for a lot of investors, people want to invest in folks that are in the blockchain, in this new technology, and there's not very many ways. Most of it's private equity, and there are very few guys that are out there. You can invest in someone like Galaxy Digital, let's say, or other, Coinbase, but there's only like 3 or 4, I think, companies that are in the exchange business as we are that you can sort of invest in. So it's exciting to be out there. It's exciting to be absolutely transparent And remember, we show our numbers now to not just the US on the Edgar database, but also to Canada on the CDAR database. And I think that's pretty significant because there's a lot of folks in this blockchain space. There's a lot of folks doing what we do in crypto and in securities, but where I think we're one of the only ones that actually is quite as transparent as we are. Now, this is obviously an AMA. I think that Shai and I have spoken enough. Let me just pass you over to Alan, and then we'll take questions. Alan?
Yeah, I think you guys have summed it up pretty well, but yeah, I've been at INX for almost 4 years from when I first met Shai and fell in love with his vision. And, you know, it's been quite a journey. We got a lot accomplished in the last year. It was a very aggressive schedule of, you know, we had an IPO last year that closed out that was successful. We acquired a couple different companies. We acquired many different licenses in the space. So it was really like a big year of foundational building, and you know, we look forward to moving forward now with this money in the bank and executing and you know, continuing to work hard towards our vision.
All right, so we're going to start taking questions. The first question I'm seeing here is, I'm in the US, can I buy your equity? I think that's a very good question. Alan, let me give you over to there.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely able to buy our equity. The best thing for you to do is to reach out to your broker and inquire. A lot of the big full service brokers, you'll be able to buy the INX digital shares on the Neo exchange through your full service broker. So I would just reach out to your broker or any other full service broker in the US and inquire with them. You should be able to trade it fine.
I would add that, you know, we're looking into doing a cross listing on the US OTC, and so that would make it a lot easier, I think, for folks, especially with discount brokers, to be able to invest in it. But for now, you know, it's mostly restricted to folks in Canada and folks outside the US. So you do have to go through some hoops if you want to be able to purchase it. I think one thing that's really interesting is that Canadians can't buy the token, and US folks are going to have a tougher time buying the equity. But we're working to fix that on both sides. Okay, here's another question. I'm from Germany. How and when can I buy the equity? To be honest, you're going to really have to talk to your own broker in Germany. I don't have, you know, the information in front of me regarding that.
It's may I add? It's Douglas. Thank you. It's very simple. You go to your broker, just make sure that the broker is connected to a broker dealer in Canada, and from there it's easy. Same like any other broker connected to NASDAQ or CME in the US. So this is the same over here. Your bank should be connected to a broker dealer, local broker dealer in Canada, and it's being done automatically from there.
Thank you, Shai. Alan, can you please explain the difference between the INX equity, INXD, and the INX token? What are the differences?
Yeah, so we have now two distinct asset classes that are trading publicly. So our token, as a lot of you know, gives a 40% share of our cumulative net operating cash flow, pretty much in perpetuity. The agreement that we sign with token holders is that's a permanent fixture of the token benefits. So token holders get a 40% cut of our net profits on a cumulative basis. That would be paid out on a yearly payment earlier in the second quarter. And token holders also get liquidation preferences to our cash fund as well. So we have $39.6 million in a cash fund that essentially backstops the exchange for extraordinary circumstances. It's basically a self-insurance fund. The token holders actually get liquidation preference to that cash fund over our shareholders. Also, in certain events of change of control where we get acquired, cash fund would get paid out pro rata to token holders. So the tokens have certain benefits. The equity, on the other hand, shareholders are actual shareholders of the company. They get voting rights in the company, and the remaining 60% that gets retained in the business for growth or whatever, you know, is to the shareholders, not paid out, but that's what they have ownership in. any kind of M&A event or something the shareholders would benefit from.
Thank you, Alan. How does the roadmap to profitability look? Do we have a time frame or update to outlook? Well, if you look on the CDR database, we have our latest roadmap was published there as part of our, I guess, our equity prospectus. One of the things I think that's really exciting is towards the end of February, early March, we're coming out with our app at the App Store. And that's going to be for cryptocurrency only. But I think that's going to be an exciting event because it means we can start directing people through marketing towards the App Store. In July, August, if I'm not mistaken, we're coming out with an app that's going to have both the cryptocurrency and the securities businesses in one app. So you'll see INX and where it's trading against where Bitcoin's trading. We'll also have an area that allows you to invest in primary offerings, and we're going to start offering primary deals where we've got a lot of companies that have come to us and asked us to raise capital. I think that the last one you probably saw was for an English Premier League soccer team, and that was for ALK Capital. But there's a lot of companies that we are working with to start raising capital for that will be trading as security tokens on the INX exchange. So, we're really going to be offering that nose to tail option, which is something we've talked about for quite some time. And now we have TokenSoft Transfer Agent. It allows us to do that where we mint tokens. We offer out to the general public lots of different deals, both private and public offerings to retail and to institutional investors. Folks invest, we then deliver the tokens to their wallets, and then the tokens are listed on our exchange and trade. And I think that that's going to be a very, very good business for us. And, you'll start hearing more and more about that as time goes on. We're also going to be listing many more, not just security tokens on the platform, but also cryptocurrencies. I think if you look right now on in the digital, you'll see that another cryptocurrency was added today. And we're going to start adding on a monthly basis. You'll start seeing new cryptocurrencies being added to the crypto platform, new security tokens coming in, either as direct listings or as raises. So you're going to start seeing a good pickup in how we approach the market, but also once the app's in the App Store, you're going to see a good pickup in terms of the marketing. Now, one exciting thing with having both the equity trading and the security token is that I think we can expect now to have folks writing research reports about INX. That's going to increase, obviously, awareness in INX. And as awareness grows and as our marketing starts kicking off, I think that's what you should find to be quite exciting. Let's see these other questions. For a person who has access to both the token and equity market, why should someone choose one over the other, or is this more of a hedging decision amongst them? Look, we don't give investment advice as to which you should own. I think that a lot of times there are different types of assets you can purchase to be involved with a company, but these decisions are decisions that you're going to have to make individually. We, as a company,
we can add on top of that that the token, as we publish on CDR and Edgar in US, token holders can use the token to pay fees on the platform. It's not yet active. It will be active soon. But the meaning of that instead of paying trading fees in fiat, you'll be able to pay trading fees in our token and entitled for 10 or 20% discount on the fees. So this is another difference between the equity and the tokens.
Here's a question. Security tokens have had a hard past. What's the difference between now and why are they expected to be more successful this go around? This is from Albert. Albert, listen, security tokens haven't had a hard past. They've just been irrelevant. Let's face it, security tokens have been around for 5 or 6 years, but they've been offered to accredited investors in products that people don't really want to trade and they're not that interested in. If I have a piece of real estate, normally when you buy real estate, you hold it for a long period of time. And so security tokens based on real estate has sort of been the general norm. And I think what we're trying to do is break out from not just having real estate, but also having exciting things that people want to be involved in. I think one of the most interesting things to have a security token is something that has a volatile underlying. So if we raise money for a Bitcoin miner and the Bitcoin miner is going to be paying out Bitcoin on a monthly basis, Well, the price of this is going to move up and down with Bitcoin, and that's going to create volatility. That's positive for a market. If I do a security token that's based upon gold that's in the ground, well, that's going to trade up and down based upon how gold is trading in the market. That's going to create volatility, and people might be excited. If I create a security token that's based upon a sports team and their game day revenues, well, if they win a game, maybe that's going to be positive for them, and maybe you'll see some movement in that price. But what we'd like to do is have security tokens come to market that people are interested in, people are excited in. I think ESG is certainly something that's very exciting right now, and we're talking to a lot of companies that are offering carbon credit type securities. But there's a lot of things that we can bring in. It's not about we manufacture something and then try to get people interested. Rather, we'd like to list things that people are already interested in, and there's already a demand for it. And I think that that's a big, big difference. It's not that security tokens never came to being. It's just they were never coming out in the right packaging, in my opinion. There's a question here about...
Douglas, may I add something very quick?
Sure.
I think we all need to ask ourselves whether we see the DAO and the NFTs as token services, protocols, or securities. I think if we hear carefully what Mr. Gensler, the chairman of the SEC, is saying, what he's trying to say is that any raise of money, especially on NFT or DAO or tokens, are considered as securities. You know, it's not a circulation, and then it's not a law, but this is what the sounds from the SEC. This is what we hear, and from our belief, it's only a question of time till the SEC will come out with something which define, let's say very carefully, most of the DeFi, NFTs, sushi tokens as securities.
Thank you, Shai. Alan, when are we going to do a burn of the token?
Never.
Yeah, so I think like what Shai was mentioning before is that, you know, that our intent is to take 20% of the tokens that are used to pay transaction fees and kind of remove that from the public token pool. So it's not active yet. We intend to do that, and once that happens, those 20% of the tokens that are used for transaction fee payments will get removed from the public pool. So the public pool that benefits from the profit share will get smaller and smaller as time goes on.
Yeah, because the token are being held by the company are not entitled for the distribution of the dividend.
And what about this this $5 million token buyback that folks have read about? What can you talk about that? When are you going to pull the trigger on that one?
Yeah, I think the $5 million buyback, we'll continue to evaluate the price of the token and the markets. There's no guarantee that we're going to do it, but the board has authorized up to $5 million this year for a buyback. We'll continue to monitor the token price, and when it looks like it's the best deal for the shareholders and token holders, we'll execute on that.
Thank you. Do we have any plans to move to a different network? Ethereum gas fees are expensive.
Yeah, I mean, it's we're always evaluating other protocols and other options, and you know, we're well aware of the gas fees and their prices. So, you know, we're a protocol agnostic platform in general. You know, our token runs on Ethereum. I don't think that's going to change anytime soon, but we're definitely going to integrate and layer on additional protocols for the platform.
Does the Inx exchange plan to list clean energy companies that have strong balance sheets of lease and finance customer base?
Yes.
We're open to listing all types of companies. In general, we've got a team here that evaluates, I'd say, 2 or 3 companies a day and talks to them. And so if you have a company and you think that they'd be great to talk to us, then please let us know, get in touch with us, and we'd be delighted to talk to them.
Douglas, I see a question. I'm looking through the stream. There's one about the New York BIT license. So on the money transmitter licenses, right now we're cleared to trade cryptocurrencies in 30 states plus District of Columbia and Puerto Rico. We constantly layer on new licenses. It's an ongoing process. We anticipate to get licensed in most all states and territories by the end of the year. That includes the bit license. So it's an ongoing process. All the money transmitter applications for every state in the country. We recently hired John Blattmacher. He was the former virtual currency chief at the New York DFS. He was an integral part of the bit license application process for New York State. So yeah, so it's definitely on our roadmap for this year.
Okay. Well, I don't see any other questions here. Is there anything, Alan, you're shy? Do you want to add any more?
Douglas, I think we can speak a little bit about the pipeline that we have on the issuer side, because we have, how do I say it, we have a very good advantage of like first mover advantage of a few of our competitors from the point of view of what we can list and what type of clients we can onboard, and trading like 24/7, 365 days a year. And our main goal for 2022 is to use this advantage. And maybe Douglas, you can talk a little bit about the pipeline, the 3 different channels that we intend to bring issuers on the platform.
Sure, I can do that, but I'm going to be quite general, because a lot of this has not been out in PR. So I'm going to be very general in terms of what we are looking at and how we're doing it. Obviously, there are a number of security tokens that are listed on other ATSs. These security tokens either aren't happy with the level of service that they're receiving, or believe that they could maybe see more demand if they were listed on our ATS. And so we've been talking to these types of issuers. So that's an existing security token that's already listed on another ATS. There are others that have gone out there that have not yet listed anywhere. There are security tokens sort of floating around looking for a home, and we've been talking to people in that spot. There are other guys that have decided, you know what, we think that doing a security token makes a lot of sense for us. We've got a very large community. We'd like to raise a significant amount of money, and we'd like you to come to INX and see if we can, create security tokens for us and sell it to our fans, the folks that support us. And certainly we're pursuing that route. And then the last route I'd say is, and probably the largest route, or where the greatest opportunity is when you look at companies that are already listed or trading on other ATSs or on other exchanges, but in legacy format. Now, I think it was a year ago when Clayton, the old chairman of the SEC, said he could see all assets moving on the blockchain in 3 to 5 years. Well, that was a year ago, and now it's 2 to 4 years. And so we had to create a way where you can take a company that's already a public company and already listed, let's say, in the OTC, and then have them figure out how they can retire their equity and instead be listed as a security token. Now, one of the ones you've probably read about was EV Biologics. And I think that they're working now with FINRA to find a way where they could be able to do a swap of equity for tokens and then list the tokens on our ATS. So I think that we've identified with some of our partners around 225 companies there, and there's 13,000 companies that trade on that platform. Now, obviously, we'd love to have someone on NASDAQ listed on our ATS, but first you got to learn how to crawl before you walk, before you run. And I think everyone wants to see, well, let's do it for a couple of companies. And first it's a drip, and then it becomes a river, then it becomes a stream, then it becomes a torrent. So we've got a little bit of time to go. But these are all the directions we're going in terms of how to get security tokens. And I think that you should be aware of how we look at it, in that INX is sort of a shopping mall for digital assets. And if every week we can come out with a new security token, or every week we can come out with a new cryptocurrency that trades on the cryptocurrency platform, well, every week then that means, or every month, that means that we'll have new folks coming to our mall interested in buying something. And once they've come in and they've done the AML and the KYC, well, we can then offer them the different products that we have. And I think that quite soon you'll find that we've got, it's a one sign on. So as opposed to having to sign on to 2 different platforms, instead you'll sign on to just one platform, be able to move around the offerings that we have, and that should be quite exciting. But it means that when someone comes in and they sign up to buy a security token, well, they're also then signed up to trade cryptocurrencies, or they're also signed up to purchase other security tokens on our platform. And so it's in our interest to always have a new event every couple of weeks that attracts people to our platform, and on top of the marketing that we'll be doing outside of that. And as folks come in the door, then they go through the AML, the KYC, then they find that they're happy. They'll be trading on an app, and we'll keep them in house. So I think that's the plan when it comes down to new issuances. But new issuances isn't just related to the security token side, it's also related to the cryptocurrency side. And as Alan said, I think we've hired the best in the business to make sure that we're only listing cryptocurrencies on the crypto side. Does INX have the appetite to conduct business in the US Virgin Islands? I don't really know how to answer that question, Alan. I think we'll have the appetite to conduct business in any jurisdiction we can, as long as we're allowed.
Yeah, we can say that as a U.S. entity, regulated U.S. entity, we are allowed to accept clients from all over the world. The only restriction that we have is like if you are a Canadian citizen or Chinese, we cannot, following the local regulatory regime, we cannot accept Canadian or Chinese to trade securities. But otherwise, our platforms are open they are open worldwide.
Thank you, Shai. Wondering what each of you feel most proud of regarding the journey of INX this year. Where do you think it will rank this time next year on your INX proudest moments? Alan, no, let's go with Shai first. Shai, what are you most proud of regarding INX?
I think if you follow the INX vision from the beginning, we started Q4 2017, and what we have always said is that regulation is part of the game. And what we see around the globals, regulators adapting more and more INX vision. And this is what I'm proud of, that this technology, this vision is becoming globally, and regulators and governments all around the world are going following what we've always said, and crypto will be the mainstream.
Alan? Yeah, I mean, a couple of things really. I mean, first of all, I'm incredibly proud of the team that we've built. It's an incredibly hardworking team, and the entire senior management team has been here. It's a constant force. Nobody's left. We're all in the trenches together, and we just keep building a better and better team. I mean, the other thing is that we sleep very well at night. We're very proud of how we've conducted ourselves since the inception of this company. Many cryptocurrency and digital asset companies in the world can't say that, and especially in the last year, it's obvious that it's become a very big focus of countries and governments to really clamp down on the industry. And we sleep well at night. We've conducted ourselves really above board and to the letter of the law, and yeah, we're very proud of that.
All right, my turn. I got to say that I'm extremely excited about running into Shai and his vision, and then finding like-minded individuals, because sometimes you get a vision and it's a little off. But Shai had a vision that's attracted folks from the legacy world, like myself and Alan, and guys that came from the blockchain world, but I guess Alan comes into that as well. But the earliest investors we had were very blockchain focused. When you look at our board, it's very legacy focused. And every single one of us, I think, as Alan said, is in the trenches together and available 24/7 365, just like Inx. And I think that that's an incredible thing, is to work with individuals that you respect, that you know how to pull the strengths from each other. And when you have a team like that, it really makes all visions possible, because it means that we find a way to thread the needle. And threading the needle, I think, is maybe our forte now, where there are so many different licenses in so many different states and so many different rules. And yet, if you want to go from A to B, you've got to find the way to do it. And I think that Shai doesn't accept no. Instead, what he wants is us to find a way to thread that needle, however hard it is. And in the end, we figure out how to do it. So I think that that's pretty exciting. Let's talk about marketing. When did we start? Well, we did start. I don't know if you saw this past weekend, but I was down in Daytona, in Florida. Florida is a huge state. We have MT licenses there. And what we realized was that Daytona Speedway had really one big sponsor, that's Rolex. And so we joined up with them to sponsor this Roar before the 24, and really to get a feel for what we could do with that organization. Now, you may think that Daytona Speedway is just about, let's say, NASCAR, and it is about NASCAR in a big way, and there's millions of people that watch that. But it's also, the cars that were there were GT cars, from around the world, whether it's Ferrari, Lamborghini, Porsche. Inx is an international company that attracts a lot of international folks, but also US folks. And so we're looking at all sorts of opportunities that we can be attracting people and be a very close partner. And so that's something that's very exciting. Now, you'll probably notice an uptick in Facebook ads, in Google ads, and working with both of those. We also have signed a number of agreements with YouTube influencers, with a lot of news sites and media sites, and you'll start seeing sponsored content from INX, and also us taking much more of a leadership role in the security token digital securities world, on a lot of very significant sites that get millions and millions of views a day, and we'll be sort of overtaking that and becoming the go-to place to learn about security tokens. We've always thought that one of the biggest things about security tokens was, I've already talked about the lack of really good products, but the other is the lack of education. And so we're going to be working with a lot of media organizations that have folks that trade traditional equities, that have folks that trade cryptocurrency. And now it's about how do you merge the two worlds? And we're going to be merging the two worlds with those media organizations, bringing out that. But also, having the mobile app and having that come out late February, early March is going to be very important. Right now, when someone says, well, where do we go to trade crypto? And I say it's crypto.inx.co. I mean, that's a tongue twister. We acknowledge that. Being able to say, just go to the App Store, I think it's going to be a lot simpler. So we're also going to be adding a lot of credit card processing in the United States. Folks have been asking about ACH for some time, and SWIFT. You're going to hear something about that very shortly. And also exciting things about, some folks that on a weekend, they say, well, I want to buy INX, or I want to buy a security token. How do I do that? Well, we figured out a way whereby you'll be able to sell and send in Bitcoin. That'll be switched into dollars, and you'll have the dollars credited to your account. You'll be able to buy on weekends and at nights when the fiat banking system's closed. So there's a lot of different payment things that we've been working with in the background, that, coupled with the marketing that we're about to launch into, and have already launched into in some cases, I think you're going to see a significant uptick in what we do. It would be awesome to list a racing team that had profit sharing if they win. Chad, you're absolutely right. And, there's a lot of folks I talked to over the past weekend that said they would love to own a part of a car that goes through this racing. Now, when you're in the racing business, it's very, very expensive. And there's other guys we've seen in the blockchain space that have sponsored Formula One cars or sponsored NASCARs. I'm not sure that we're in the business of doing that. But certainly, if there's anyone out there at NASCAR or Formula One that wants to raise capital for their car and have a great supporting base to go behind it, then absolutely they should come to INX, and we'll raise the capital for them and we'll list it. What advantage does INX have over other crypto exchanges with enough capital to comply and catch up with regulation and have volume too? This is a question we get asked a lot. And the way I think of it is, I don't know if you have in your town something called Restaurant Row. There's always 6 or 7 restaurants all on the same street, and then someone opens up a restaurant on the same row, and they always ask them, why you open up a restaurant? There's already plenty of choice. Well, I think in the US, there's not a lot of choice when it comes to crypto. Sure, there's Kraken, there's Coinbase, there's Gemini, and then it sort of drops off a little bit. And what you'll find is that a lot of these other institutions, it's standing room only in these restaurants. You go there, they're packed solid to the brim. And when there's a movement in Bitcoin and it moves 10%, all of the sites go down. And that leaves folks saying, well, wait a minute, this isn't fair. Now, maybe it's because their servers can handle 10 million people, normally 7.5 trade per day, but maybe there's 100 million people that have signed up with them. And so when things start to move and people run for the exits, their servers collapse. But we're opening up a restaurant in the same block. Our servers are clear. We've got the ability to be able to handle the onboarding of lots of people. And you can get a seat, you can sit down, and the chef, that's Paz, he's ready, willing, and able, and the servers can handle demand. So we're opening up something in a spot that we think needs more product, or more certainly restaurants on the block. But on top of that, we've got one thing that they don't have, and some of them have applied for the licenses but haven't been able to get it, and that's digital securities. Now, you may think that a $2 trillion market cap, remember only 3 weeks ago, I think it was 3 trillion, a market cap for blockchain assets is a lot, but it's tiny compared to the $115 trillion of market cap for equities. Now, if equities do indeed move on to the blockchain as we expect, and we can offer this, but the others can't, then I think that's going to be very, very interesting. Now, remember, our ATS is not an exchange. We're not like the New York Stock Exchange or NASDAQ, but we certainly are an ATS just like the OTC is, except we list digital assets, and we're not open from 9 until 4:30 or 9:30 to 4. We're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And you'll see, if you look at the INX token, that it trades on the weekend. It trades on a Saturday. It trades on a Sunday. It trades at night. And so people in different hours of the day in different centers in different countries can trade at the times that they want. It actually comes out to around, we're open 5.4 times more than our traditional exchange using our platform. So exciting times ahead, but there are some things that we can offer that others can't. And certainly securities, digital securities is one of those.
Yeah, somebody asked about the profit sharing again on the token, and yeah, we as we mentioned earlier in the hour, the INX token holders get a 40% cut of our cumulative net operating cash flow on an annual basis. So
the difference
is on our website.
Alan, just to mention one thing, the allocation to the token holders is mandatory, yearly mandatory, which is different from any other company that you need to have a board decision or shareholder decision or something like this. On the token purchase agreement, the company obligated that we will distribute a yearly, mandatory yearly, we call it dividend, but it's not really a dividend, it's the way that Alan described it before.
Okay. Shai, do your employees get the opportunity to receive INX tokens as a form of payment?
Yeah, we allocated 15% of the total number of tokens. The total number is 200 million. 15% it's 30 million. And this is thing like ESOP. We call it ETOP. And 15% is the normal acceptable number to allocate to employees and board members, and this is the number that we allocated from the first day of the company. I mean, it's not that we are going to increase it. This is the number. That's it, 50%, no more. 4 years, this is what we have done until now. I think out of the 15%, we've already allocated, I assume something like 10, and it's important to say, I want to say that I'm not part of this 15. Me personally, no, I'm not part of the 15, and there's no ESOP for me, only to the employees and board members.
All right, thank you. I think that I think we've come to time. I think we're going to wrap up now. But any closing words, Shai? It's been a big week for you.
I appreciate very much each one of you to put his trust with us. I can assure you that the three guys over here and the other 90 people, we literally work 24/7, 365 days a year to make the best of it.
All right, thank you very much. And to all of our community, now we've got token holders in the US. There's a lot of token holders in Japan as well. And don't worry, we're working as fast as we can to do things over there as well. And also to our equity holders, we say thank you very much. We're going to close out the AMA now. Thank you so much for being with us. Cheers.
Thank you
Thanks,
very much,
everybody.
everybody. Cheers.